What up, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Fester, Prinster, SoundCloud, SoundClick, Aquarius, Hopkins, and All Points, America. Okay, so Jeb Bush is going to be president. That's just all there's to it. And for you youngins that weren't around when his father came into office, him and Dick Cheney sent us to war. We went to war. That's when the Gulf War started. And they went over there and killed people and took their oil. All in the name of America. They started a fight with Saddam Hussein, who was not even close to being prepared to fight America. And we're still over there today killing people. Is that American? Is that American? It's the way Americans been doing. That's the way we've been doing things. Am I anti-American? No. I'm for freedom. I'm for being free. But that word freedom has been coming into question with the recent killings. They killed another black man yesterday. And about once every 28 hours, they shoot a black man, which is pretty much what they used to do, except they used to lynch us. And they would have lynching parties. Well, the Ku Klux Klan, the officers are the same as the overseer, the slave drivers. So officer, overseer, officer, overseer. It's the same thing. And the Ku Klux Klan they are in the police force. And for those of you who want to argue that, here where I live, they make it visible. They walk down the street with KKK outfits on, and we know they're the police. They've been on the news as the police wearing KKK hats. Yeah, it's real. They let us know that they are the KKK. They don't like blacks. They don't like Jews. They don't like homosexuals on both ends, men and women. And, so, sorry I'm not feeling well, so Jeb Bush is going to be president. His brother was president, and he took us to war also, and I was in the army when he took us to war. No, I wasn't in the army when he took us to war. I was in the army when his father took us to war, so we've been in war with, Daddy Bush. We went to war with George Bush Jr., and we're going to go to war with Jeb Bush. We're already at war. We've been at war. This country is, 200, a little bit over 200 years old, and we've been at war for almost 200 years. This is what we do. We've been at war for almost 200 years. So we're going to continue to go to war. We just don't know who we're going to go and kill yet. Anyone who has what we need, we're going to go kill. That's just that. We're going to go and take what we need. Here's a problem, though. Here's a problem with empires. Right now, we have a large empire. And this is what all empires do. They spread out, they conquer. Roman had the third largest empire. The Persians came, they had a large empire. The Greek had a large empire. Of course, the Greeks and the Romans went at it. And, but the Roman Empire stretched all the way to Africa, and, of course, Alexander the Great, his empire was just huge. But the largest empire actually came from the Huns. I believe it was Attila the Hun. Somebody can correct me on that. No, the Khans. I think they had the largest Empire, the Khans did. So up there near Russia, near the Scythians, the Russian Scythians. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But they were Asian. So, yeah. So at one time, France tried to take over the world, so on and so forth. But all empires have come to a screeching halt for one reason or another. Napoleon pretty much tried to take over the whole world. He was greedy and went up there, and I think, did he lose to Scipio? He lost to the Germans. He lost to the Germans. Hitler tried to take over the world, and he lost to the Americans and other countries. Pretty much there's a lot of countries who have taken over the world, but the empires fall. And one way empires fall is they get too greedy. And they misstep. They miscalculate. And some of them get eaten from the inside out, like the Roman Empire, actually, in Rome. What ate the Roman Empire from the inside out was its belief in Caesar. Caesar being sun god. When Jesus the Christ came along, he claimed that he was king, a king. And when they said that he was king, it was treason. This is why Paul had his head cut off, because Paul was a Roman at one time. And yes, he was a black man. He was from the tribe of Benjamin. But Paul ended up siding with the people he was persecuting, which were the Christians. So on and so forth. But nonetheless, people start believing in Jesus the Christ, instead of believing in Caesar, and the Roman Empire got eaten up from the inside out, its infrastructure. And then Boudica, when they expanded to Germanic tribes, Boudica defeated them until they defeated Boudica, but nonetheless, they just pretty much overexpanded in East Germany, and I think they overexpanded I might have been right. They overexpanded, but nonetheless, then of course the Council of Nicaea, they were a whole different part of the Roman Empire. Now a lot of you are going to correct me on that, and that's fine. Because right now I'm a little loopy because I've taken NyQuil because I'm not feeling well, but nonetheless, so the German Empire, where Constantine was, is the ones who created the Bible, yada, yada, yada. Nonetheless, Hannibal attacked them and all that other stuff. Nonetheless, empires fall. So, I'm saying all that to say, America, we're the big guns right now. Us, Russia, Japan. Or us, Russia, China. I wouldn't say China is the big guns, but they side with Russia, who also sides with Ahmadinejad in his country. And he's trying to get uranium so he can build rockets, nuclear weapons, and so on and so forth. But we have to be careful, because when I look at the movie Red Dawn, that could very well happen. You know what I'm saying? If we're not careful. We're spread too thin. We're all over the place. And we got to think about that, and I think about, what is American? Well, are you American? Is it a spirit? Because it definitely isn't a race now. Some white people think that they're American. Some black people think they're American. Nonetheless, neither one of us were here when America first started. The word America is something from a French man. America's Vespucci. Just like Africa, the French made that name too. It was actually called the land of Ham. And people from there were called Hamites. What is American? What is America? And are you prepared to pay the consequences? Because we can't just blow it all up. We can't. And right now, America is being eaten from its inside out. Let me bring all that around. Let me remind some of you people who might listen to this. Listen, the minorities. This is black people, Hispanic people, Indians, anyone who's legally considered minority by government standards are no longer the minority. We outnumber white people by a vast number. And you just think about that. And we are the ones being persecuted. We're the ones being slaughtered in the street. We are the ones being taken to jail. In California built 22 jails. They built one school. Think about that. 22 prisons. One university. 22. It's going to all blow up. It is. It's going to all blow up. The prisons are bursting from the inseam, and there's just a lot of angry people out here. In America, like these cop soldiers are prepared to kill us. They're not doing this all on an accident. It's going to blow up. It is. They're not doing what they're doing on an accident. They're going to get rid of us in mass numbers, but what they're planning is not going to work. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed. They're going to eliminate a lot of people, but they don't understand that what they're going to do is they're going to eliminate the very ground at what they stand on. And I don't mean that metaphorically. They're going to blow it all up. Just because they want to thin out our numbers. There's 6 billion of us. They think there's too many of us. That's 6 billion people, not 6 billion minorities. But they don't care about us. Black lives don't matter to them. They're going to blow it all up. They're going to try to take as many minorities or even poor white people as they can. You don't believe me, you might want to look back to when Michael Brown was killed and see all the weaponry that they bring into town. They have weaponry that's not even for police. It's not even police weaponry. It's military weaponry. They're military ready. They're combat ready. I know because I've seen it. I've been in the military. I know what mobilizing is. I remember when 44 SIG, listen, when 44 Signal rolled out, 44 Signal is a tank unit. If you don't believe me, you can look it up. 44 Signal is a tank unit, and they're located in Kansas. Kansas is our third largest fort. Larger than any major city. This is the fort. It's called Fort Riley. It's so huge. And it's a city there. Trust me, it's there. And there are hundreds of thousands of people who are there. And they rolled out. And when they rolled out, they took the tank unit. And then they took the support units for the tank units. Those same tanks that they rolled out of Fort Riley, we saw roll into Missouri. Except those tanks had a big red cross on them. What? Please. You're not fooling nobody with the big red cross. I don't know if they're howitzers, M1s. I don't know what they were. But I know they can fire over 2 miles. They can travel over 60 miles an hour. They can jump a 13-foot trench. And I know if you get hit anywhere near one of them, there's going to be nothing left of you or whatever you're sitting in. Whatever you're driving. You're not going nowhere when they get to firing. It's over. No movie can prepare you for when they touch down and they're in Missouri. They're going to blow it all up. I'm telling you people right now. They're not killing us on accident. They're killing us so we can eventually mobilize and look like we are a threat. And when there's enough of us, like you see that happen, for one, like in Ferguson, and then in Baltimore. You notice how people are becoming more and more organized? You notice how the mix of people are becoming more and more, it's more gray. It's not all white and it's not all black. It's not all black people running around. It's almost gray now because there are some white people who realizing, what these people are doing is crazy. What these cops is doing is crazy. Why? Because they're killing some of them too. That's letting you know that it's getting bad. But you notice how organized it's getting, and pretty soon you're going to have people. Now you got cops dying. You got someone down in Mississippi. Now, those two might not be the same example, but it was a black cop and a white cop. And you got 2 cops that were shot in New York a couple months back by some random guy. Now, some people saying it's a hoax, but the point is, once we become a big enough threat, they're just going to wipe us out. It's called a legalized calling. And I don't care what your degree is. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care how much muscles you have. I don't care what you're driving. You're going to go down. They're going to barge in your house. They're going to take you. They're going to put a tag on you. And they're going to march you somewhere. And it's going to look a lot like Auschwitz. And there's nothing you can do because you're going to be outgunned. But you're not going to be outnumbered. And you'll have some people that'll fight back, but they'll make quick examples out of them. Quick. And they'll make it public, just like they have been doing. Shooting like Eric Garner. Couldn't have been much more public than that. Remember him? Big guy, New York, broad daylight. See how they killed him? Not an accident, people. That's not an accident. Not one bit. There's going to be a lot of that. And what's really crazy, it's not only happening in our country. So you have to ask yourself, what is American? What is America? What do you stand for? Because what you stand for and your beliefs are going to become skewed. They're going to become gray, murky. Because you're going to have to choose life or death. And it's going to be just that. It's not going to be, I'm siding with the Caucasoids. Or I'm siding with, the Asians. Or I'm siding, no. It's going to be none of that. I'm siding with the black people because of, no. You're either going to side with life or death. And if you side with death, you're going to have to choose how you're going to die. Are you going to die running or are you going to die fighting? Because that's all that's going to be it. That's the only choice you're going to have. That's all that's going to be left for you. It's not going to be how you're going to live. It's going to be how I'm going to die. And that's it. And that's the cold hard truth. That's it. Are you American? Are you? We'll see.